totally see. I haven't finished that part yet. I'm not going to for a while. I'm gonna make this van a little bit more functional before I worry about that. I don't know, hopefully it doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother me, so. Hi to YouTube and all my subscriber friends. You, like the... It's temporary, I'm just testing it out to see how I like the idea of a curtain back there instead of building a door, since I'm not going to really need it until the winter time anyway. So it's just more for privacy than anything else, and I can always get some sort of blackout curtain. But yeah, so that's temporary, and I can always get something down the road. Before we move on to the shelf that I want to put over there, right next to this lovely shelf here, is that it's been brought to my attention that some of you may want to see in greater detail some of the processes that I execute throughout my van build. Because my focus has always been keeping the video under 15 minutes as much as possible, and that would be far more convenient for people to watch. However, this being brought to my attention, my thought may be an incorrect one. And this is exactly why I wanted to hold on to all the raw footage in case of situations such as this. So maybe I can use some of that footage, which I have used in previous videos, to, I don't know, release some sort of more in-depth video for each type of question that a YouTube viewer may ask about, and then I can make a video about it with some of my already used footage. So that's kind of a thought that's coming to mind for some time down the road. I don't want to focus too much on that because there's so much work that still needs to be done to this band. I'm really happy with the way that's turned out so far. In fact, this was planned, you know, in contrast to this color. I mean, those things were planned, but to have the walls the way they are now, I didn't plan for that. That was me changing my mind at the last minute. So I'm glad that it worked out. Oh, by the way, the blanket does seem to hide almost all the light when I'm just using my reading lights here. So this sort of light does not seem to peer through the blanket. But I can only imagine that those lights up there, I can only imagine that this sort of light would actually penetrate through the blanket. So people would know that I'm in here, but I'm not, I really don't care at this point, because I'm not full-time in this van yet. Now, going back to the shelf that's going here, the first thing I want to do, since the wall here is pretty solid, only a little bit moves, whereas back here it was more flexible when I was building the template for this piece of my bed wall, is since they're different, like this is not flexible nearly as much as that is over there. So the first thing that needs to be done is making a template. I'm thinking about using a method of shaping a template similar to that which I have seen an installer with the company that I work for. How he actually built a template for a countertop that needed to be installed for one of the kitchen remodels that we've done in the past. And that's just cutting out a bunch of small pieces of cardboard, and I've got some of that back there, and then shaping it all along the wall, and then using one straight edge piece to fit the size of board that I want to use for this shelf. And ideally, if it all works out, it will connect to this, which means that you will never see this section right here. Although if you are in front of the shelf, you will see this little strip. So, ideally this shelf will cover up this and then reach the floor, close to it. It might only reach this bottom section of the bed frame. And I'd be okay with that too, because then I'd have easier access underneath. I have not worked that far into the plan. And I don't expect any of this to make sense, but I'm working this through in my mind. And talking about it here, it might make more sense when I actually do it. It might not. I don't know. Guess we'll find out. So that's kind of the plan. Anyway, let's form ourselves a template. So what we're going to do is cut a bunch of small strips so we can just kind of slip them along the wall and then tape them together as we go. First we need to cut a piece. Yeah, small pieces like so will make a big difference. After I do this, I'll kind of go over my idea here. Alright. Hopefully this will be enough pieces. Alright, so now that we've gotten some small pieces cut out, what we're going to do is take each piece. You might have to flatten them out a little bit, but that's no big deal. We'll just take them and go along the wall, and also means we might have to make some little adjusted cuts. Ideally, as we go along the wall, we will acquire the actual shape, the curvature of the wall. Now the first thing that you'll notice, if you take a piece like this, where the surface is nice and flat on the edge, if we put that up on the wall, it'll be flush. But the problem is, it's at an angle. Now this is not necessarily a problem, even if we want it to be flat up like this, nice and straight, because all we have to do is take a piece of cardboard like so and make sure it goes up nice and flat, like so. And then we'll take our tape and tape it down. Now we can double check once again. Okay, that's nice and flat up on top. Nice and straight. So I've got the right angle that I want. But because this piece is jagged a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and tape up the rest of it. Don't forget to do the back side too. Alright, voila. The last thing I want to do, and this is just my own personal preference, is mark the top, because otherwise it can get a little confusing. Just like so. I'll do the same thing on the other side just to be on the safe side. Just for added security. There we go. So I'm just going to keep on going and see how far I can get. I know it looks really straight, but there's a little bit of a curvature to this. And it's going to make a big difference as I start to get lower and lower. You'll see. Now it's starting to come together. Looks like the rest of it can almost be one large piece. I'm going to give that a try. I have a piece right here. That actually might work. Maybe not. I'm still going to try larger pieces. We're about done. Now that part's taken care of. The question is, do I want the shelf to stick out 11.5 inches all the way up? Well, I guess it wouldn't stick 11 inches all the way up. How would that look? That would be roughly this far out, I'm guessing. Some of it only like 8.5 inches. That might work. It might. Yeah. It will stick out a little bit further than this part right here. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, the advantage is the template's done. And all I have to do is trace out 2 pieces of plywood to match the length. So realistically, once both pieces are cut out for the sides of the shelf that will go up against the wall, oh, actually, I don't know. Now I'm having second thoughts. Because I want to put another partition wall right about here. I just can't make up my mind. I cannot make up my mind at all. Well, and that sheet needs to be 2 feet wide. I'm going to do the one side. I'm going to cut out one piece. I'm just going to cut out one piece right now. Which means I also have to work on the face of the bed frame. Not a big deal, but that just means it has to get done. So, I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going right now. I'm just playing it by ear. I'm going to think about this a little bit further before I try to progress beyond what's necessary and then have to trace my steps again. So, for the meantime, as always, thanks for watching. Take care. Love others as you love yourself. I'll see you next time.